Hi everyone, I am Aisha Chaudhary and this is my first demo of this internship. So what I'm going to do today is the task. It is perform end-to-end technical work cycle. It consists of these much processes that have to be completed, okay, and it involves some softwares like Jira, Spring Boot, BitBucket, SourceTree, Postman, and AWS. So let's get started. The first thing that we have to do is create a user story in Jira. So before moving forward, let's understand what exactly is Jira. Jira is a project management tool that helps us to plan, track, and manage our software development work. We can fix errors, find bugs, and track our progress, and so much more. It supports not just software development but other management and IT operations too. It has agile methodologies like Scrum, Kanban, and etc. Jira is very flexible and easy to use. So let's see how it looks and how it works. So we'll go to Jira to create a project. So this is a dashboard which has my name on it, and we are going to create a new project to understand. Okay, let's select this. This was a project that I made just to understand, or a demo. Okay, create project. We'll select Scrum here, as Scrum template is very widely used everywhere, and it's basically easy and suitable for a industry level project which involves teams and developers, testers, everybody, and where you have to continuously improve your project to deploy, to add new features, find errors. It's very useful for it. So use template. We'll select team managed project. Let's give it a name. Let's say payment integration. Okay. We'll select next. The key is PI or the shortcut, so we'll use it. So our project has been created with the name Payment Integration. This is our board or the workplace on which we'll track and to do our work. So the first thing that we have to do is create a user story, right? But before that, we have to create an epic. Okay. So what exactly is epic? Epic is like a large body of work that has to be broken down into smaller stories or issues in Jira. Those are basically tasks that has to be performed by developers, testers, or whatever people are in the teams, right? So Epic is like the overall workflow, the overall work that has to be done in a simple project. So for that, we're going to click here, create. The project has been selected already by default here. The issue type is story. We're going to change that to epic. Okay. Let's give it a summary like, uh, let's say login, design. Okay. We can add a much bigger description here in order to understand, or in order to mention the teammates and notify them about this issue or the epic or the anything task that has to be performed. The assignee here means the Scrum Master. Okay, so we have Scrum Master in Jira who manages who manages overall workflow of the sprint or basically the progress or the work that is going on. Like it acts as a coach to the whole team that will guide and manage everything, view on it, give it their opinions, or something like that. So for now, I'll assign myself as the assignee or the Scrum Master. We can add a label like login. We can select parent or choose team just to be rated on. We can add a date, due date, and we can also change the color, which is by default purple here. So I'm going to keep it. Okay, these are the color options. We can add or drop files, attachments for further use. Now let's create it. It's now time to create the user story. We'll go to a backlog. Here is the our sprint that we have to work upon. Okay, so what exactly is sprint? Let's understand that first. So sprint is a time boxed period or a time interval when a scrum team has to complete a task or some work that they have to do. It is an amount of time that a work has to be completed in. Okay, so a project generally is divided into multiple sprints so that somehow each of in every task it could get completed within the time period. Even if the whole project is not developed, still it would be available to the customers, to the clients, and that it will also satisfy them. Okay, so first what we have to do is create a user story. Okay, select story with the help of the format that is to be used in user story. We'll create it. Sorry. As a developer, I want to create a login page so that users can authenticate themselves. So here our user story has been created. We can add it to our epic is login design. And next thing that we have to do is create subtasks. Four subtasks were given that were UI task, server task, QA test case, and QA execution. Okay, so here is the option add a child issue. That's the first subtask that is to be done. That was UI task. Second one was server task. Third one, QA test case. Fourth one, QA execution. Sorry, spelling mistake. Okay, so four of our subtasks has been done, completely made, created. Okay, here is the icon which shows that a user story has subtasks or child issues which are yet to be completed. Now we'll add this to our sprint. which is here. Just add it. Okay, so it's now added to our sprint and the sprint is ready to be started. Here we go. Start sprint. We can change it and give it a name. We'll leave it like that. We can set a duration of anything, 1 week, 2 weeks, and we can add a custom too of whatever time the user story or the task will take to complete. We can give the date, the starting date, and the ending date. We can give a sprint goal or whichever to our choice. Then we'll start the sprint. Okay, so the sprint has been started, and we can see that there are three stages of our sprint. The first is the to-do stage, where the task has been assigned but not yet started by the team or the developers or whatever. So when it's in progress, we can drag it to in progress when it's like walking. And when it's completed, we can drag it to done. For now, we'll keep it to do as it's still to yet to be done or to be completed. Now that we are done with Jira, the next step is to create a Spring Boot project using Spring Initializer. Let's go to Spring Initializer. There it is. Okay, the language has been selected as Java. The project tool would be Maven. The Spring Boot version is 3.3, 3.2, and we can give it a name. Let's change the name. We can add a company name. For now, we can say e-commerce. We can give it an artifact name like payment integration. Okay, we'll leave everything like that. And we can also add some dependencies of our choice. Let's do it. Okay, I'll add Spring Web for the front end and use MVCs to build a website. Spring Boot DevTools. It supports live reload, restarts, and configurations for enhanced development experience. It eases our development process. Now we'll generate it. A zip file would be downloaded into my local system for my further use. Now let's go to the place. Here it is in my download section. First, in my documents, I'll create a new folder, payment project. Okay, and from downloads, I'll copy and paste that into my payment project folder. I'll now extract all the files present. Here only in this project folder. Let's put here. I'll copy the location. Let's go to Spring Tool Suite or STS to add it to our workspace. Now let's launch it. It's loading. Let's wait for it. Okay. So this is my package explorer. What we have to do is we'll select file, import, and we'll select existing Maven project. Paste the URL here. Click on browse. Yes, we can see the pom.xml file which was present on that zip file. Now we'll finish it. Yes, it has been now imported into our workspace with everything that is required. That is Maven dependencies, the Jira system library, the resources. This came from the Spring Web dependency. Here we will keep the static web files, and here we will keep the dynamic web pages that requires backend data or like fine leaf templates, something like that. Here we will keep it the main Java files like the controller, the service layers, the database models and security classes, everything, etc. Okay, so this is our main Java class that will run the overall application, the overall Spring Boot application. Okay, so the next step is create a repository in BitBucket to hold this project. Okay, we can go to our browser to open BitBucket. What is BitBucket? BitBucket is just like GitHub, a version control software which supports Git. Git is a version control platform or software tool that helps us to manage and track our applications and its versions. It makes it very easy to develop our software with it. We can create repositories, create pull requests, clone our repositories into a system, upload our projects into the server, and much more. Okay, so first of all, we have to create a repository, right? Uh, so we can select a project and select payment work, which has already been created before. Leave it like that. The repository name can be payment integration. Okay, so it's a private repository. We can uncheck it if we want to make it public, but it's totally our choice. We can include a README. Default branch name could be main and create it. Repositories basically contains the branches and the files that we upload. Okay, so these are the features that we performed: pull requests, branches, commits, the commits we do on our projects like uploading files, updating our code, etc. Okay, so it has been created. So the next step is to create a main branch, feature branch, and integration branch into this repository. As it already contains a main branch, so we will create just the integration and feature branch. So we'll go to this option, create, click on it. We'll get a drop down of these many options. We'll select branch. Okay, so type could be set to other from main branch, and we'll name it integration branch. That could be subdivided into other feature branches. So with this diagram, we can understand that this is the main branch and this is the integration branch where every feature of the project would be integrated and tested as a single unit. But before that, it would be subdivided into feature branches that would uh, complete separate tasks of the project. Multiple projects like the UI work or the backend work or the designing a simple page, the database, testing and other stuff like that. So we want to create it. Okay, so two of our branches have been created, main and integration. Okay, so now we'll create feature branches. Let's go to branch again, select feature from integration, give it a name like feature 1, create it. Let's create another feature branch, feature integration and feature 2, create it. Okay, so both of our feature branches and integration branch have been created. The next step is to clone the local or the feature branch into a source tree sync folder, right? Locally. So here is the option that does it for us. Uh, Click on checkout in source tree, open source tree. It's taking your time a little bit. Okay. Yes. So we can click on clone and see. So the feature branch has now been cloned into a source tree locally. We can now do pull requests, commits, and everything here. Now, what we'll do is paste the zip file that we got from Spring Initializer into our local sync folder of this project payment integration. Okay, so let's go to our file explorer and here it is. It is the local sync folder. Okay, and in this payment project, I have a zip folder. I'm going to copy it and paste it here. Okay, so the next step is go to our IDE and import it, import the zip file into our dependency. According to the next step, we have to add a REST controller. But before that, we'll create a new package here, which is to be called controller. It's basically like creating a new folder for every task. It manages and keeps it clean for us to understand and keep us code free from errors and separate from other tasks or other layers like service layer or authentication layers, database models, and others. Let's name it my controller. Okay, so finish. The package has been created. Now let's add a new class to it. You can name it API controller, or let's change it a bit. Just controller 1. Okay, finish. Now, let's add annotations. Okay, the first one is REST controller. Okay, which will now make this class a REST controller to handle those API requests and browser requests. The second annotation would be request mapping, okay, which is basically a mechanism that connects the incoming HTTP requests to the appropriate methods of our controllers. Okay, let's give an endpoint to it like V1. So we are required to create two API endpoints. That the first one is post and the second one is get. Okay, first one is the post with the endpoint v slash v1 slash payments, and the second one is get, the same one but with an ID here. Okay, let's create it. We'll do get mapping annotation and give a URL to it like payments and ID. Okay, now we'll create a function with return string type. Let's say get data, and as it contains a data or the ID from the URL, so we use path variable annotation and the int ID. Okay, now we'll simply return the ID is plus ID. Okay, now we'll create post mapping endpoint with URL same as above but without the ID. Okay, public string, let's say post data. It has no parameter body, parameter list will be empty. We'll return hello from post mapping. Okay, so we are done with our controller or the REST controller. We'll save everything. Now we'll use some Maven commands to check our project and do some operations. So we'll go here, right click on it and run as Maven build. Okay, here we can write our Maven commands in the goals section like clean, spring, boot, run. Let's check it now. What will it do? It's working, it's working. Okay, okay. So now we can here it is written Tomcat server started on port 8080. We can see that our project has been run successfully without any errors, and with the help of Tomcat server, it is running on port 8080. We can also check it on our browser if it's working or not. Let's go to our browser, localhost 8080. Okay, so it's working. As we can see, it's giving a white label error, meaning that it has not found any kind of static or dynamic web page. It just got an error or something that actually goes wrong, but it simply means here that our application is running fine It is more like a basic error page which we will encounter every time there is an error in our project. Okay, so it here it says no static resource. Yes, so we added web Spring Web dependency into our project and didn't add any kind of static file into it. So that's why it's saying no static resource here. Every error that is generated, the reason is written somewhere here or down here. Whatever error it is that may come into a project, it is written here. It is available. We can check it and resolve project. So this was all the work that I was able to complete, and apologies for the mistakes that I've probably made in this video. And thank you for giving me this opportunity, and thank you.